Some fringe ultra-left loonies have suggested using Article 3 of the 14th Amendment to prevent Donald Trump from assuming the presidency. But if President-elect Trump is not sworn in on January 2025, it won't be the loony left crazies invoking the 14th Amendment that prevents him from taking the oath of office. Then who will it be? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Henry, and this is Conservative Commentary, where we spread the MAGA message. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you for a favor. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This really helps us grow the channel and get the MAGA message out. And go over to youtube.com/@themagamessage and check out our other videos. Article 3 of the 14th Amendment states, "No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of the president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid and comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability." Okay, you got it. No insurrection, no aid and comfort to the enemy. Now, watch this clip of Maryland moron Jamie Raskin on CNN, or as I like to call it, the Communist News Network.
The question of democracy was one considered by the framers of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, and they saw the threat to democracy coming from politicians who get into office, swear their oath of office, and then try to overthrow the government. So they saw this disqualification of a tiny number of people as upholding democracy, not discrediting it. And if you think about it, there are more than 100 million people who are disqualified for running for president in America today. You know, I sit next to Maxwell Frost and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. No matter how able they might be, they can't run for president. Barack Obama can't run for president.
It's the most easiest requirement to comply with is not engaging in an insurrection.
I mean, how many people have self-disqualified under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment?
Exactly.
Fewer than a dozen today.
Here's the problem with the lefties' premise. Donald Trump has not been convicted of engaging in any insurrection. Of course, the lefties point to the kangaroo Hollywood-produced January 6th committee's findings. That won't work because the committee only had the power to report, not to find anyone guilty of insurrection. In other words, the committee's report is simply an opinion. And the same is true of the impeachment for the January 6th nonsense, because it failed as well. So if President Trump is prevented from taking office on January 20, 2025, who will prevent him? The Republicans in the House of Representatives, that's who. What? That's right. How? If the Republicans engage in the same self-destructive behavior in choosing a Speaker of the House as they did when Kevin McCarthy was removed, then it's quite possible we won't have a Speaker in time to certify the election on January 6th. Chad Pergam from Fox News explains.
Chad, can Johnson hang on to the gavel as he faces pushback from really both sides of the aisle, it seems?
Griff, good afternoon. For Mike Johnson, it's about the math. He starts the new Congress on January 3rd with 219 members. The House begins at 434 members. So Johnson needs an outright majority of the House to win. That's 218. There are several members who will not support him. Victoria Spartz of Indiana is doubtful.
I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't want to say. I think Mike is a very good human being. He's a brilliant human being, good heart, you know, but we're dealing with the mob here, so I'm not sure how tough he is to really govern, but this place needs some courage, so we'll see, you know, how it's going to work.
The head of the House Freedom Caucus, Andy Harris of Maryland, is undecided after last week's spending bill. Thomas Massey of Kentucky is a no on Johnson after last week's spending package as well.
This solidifies it.
Have any other of your colleagues said that they're not voting for Johnson? Expressed?
I've talked to a few, who don't seem like they're going to vote for him. You have to ask them. I'm not going to betray anybody's position.
Will you just vote president, or will you vote someone else's name?
I'll vote for somebody else.
So if the House fails to elect a speaker on the first ballot, it must vote repeatedly until it elects a speaker. In 2023, that process consumed 5 days. It was the longest speaker election since 1859. President-elect Trump could be a difference maker.
I was in constant contact with President Trump throughout this process, spoke with him most recently about 45 minutes ago. He knew exactly what we were doing and why, and this is a good outcome for the country. I think he certainly is happy about this outcome as well.
But Mr. Trump is said to be frustrated with Johnson. Here's the doomsday scenario. Let's say the House takes as long as it did 2 years ago to elect a speaker. That means it cannot certify the Electoral College on January 6th. The House can't do anything, including swearing in the members, until it picks a speaker. Griff?
So who becomes president if the election isn't certified by January 20? The order of progression is vice president, but without certification of the election, J.D. Vance won't be sworn in. Next is the Speaker of the House, but if no one is elected, then there's no Speaker of the House to take office. Third in line is the President pro tempore of the Senate. That would be Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa. What a potential mess. Hopefully, President Trump will intercede and get a speaker in place so the new administration can hit the ground running on day one. What do you think about this potential snafu? Please share your thoughts in the comments.